Hey guys, Joatsaint here, coming at you with my sidekick, Frankensleeve, and we're bringing you another frequently asked question. And this one was a pretty popular question on the boards. It comes up really often. It's the same question I had before I committed to surgery, and it all has to do with doubts and fears of, is the surgery going to work for me? Am I going to be able to eat normal food? So this is all about the pre-op jitters, and fears and worries, and am I making the right decision? So I just want to give you the highlights of the, the thread that I read. This was on bariatricpile.com, and I'll be putting a link to the original thread so you can read it for yourself if you'd like and see any new updates at the bottom of my in the description field down below. And let's see. This was posted by a person named New Beginnings, and it says, I really need honest opinions from someone who has went through this surgery. I am scheduled for surgery, and I'm having crazy moments of serious doubt and regret. And I really went through the exact same thing. I was nervous and just jittery, didn't know if it was the right thing for me, but it was one of the things where I knew that it was no going back once I decided, so no reason to have a regret, no matter what I had to go through, because there's just no going back, so try not to regret it. But on with the questions. So, they go on to say, I want to have more energy, feel better about myself, and be healthier. The reasons I'm having doubts is because I'm afraid I won't be able to have a normal life. I won't be able to go out and eat with my husband, eat normal but smaller portions of foods. I'm afraid I won't be able to eat enough protein, and I will lose a lot of hair. I'm afraid I will end up accidentally choosing the wrong food and getting sick all the time. I'm afraid I won't be able to enjoy any of the foods I do now. I'm mostly afraid that I'll regret the surgery for the reasons I just listed and no longer will be happy with myself. So everything in this thread is, I went through it. I'm sure everybody who has had weight loss surgery of any form has gone through it, because it is a permanent procedure. You can't go back. And if things go wrong after the surgery's over with, there's not a whole lot you can do except go back to your surgeon again and have revision surgery or see what other options are available to you. But this was the reply I originally posted. I went through the same feelings and doubts you were having. I even backed out the first time, which is true. I started the process in October of 2012, and the first time I called my insurance company just to find out if they covered the surgery, I backed out. I called them and found out they did cover it, and then I put it off for another month because I wanted to see if I could give it one more college try and lose the weight on my own. But seriously, by the end of October, I realized I was back to my old eating habits, and I needed way more help than I could do for myself. So a month later, I made up my mind and committed to surgery, and that's one point where I decided I'm going to jump in. I'm going to do this. No backing out once I commit to it, and no regrets, no matter what I have to go through, no matter what the results are. And how I came to this final decision to make my commitment to surgery was, it came down to answering two questions for myself, which are the two questions I use to answer any major life change. And the number one is, do I want to be in this situation or be in a worse position than I am in now, a year from now? And of course, the answer was no for me. And number two, is the pain of staying like I am worse than the pain of change? And again, I had to think long and hard, because it was a big commitment. I'm a fallback plan kind of guy. I always have a fallback plan. I have a way to recover if things go wrong, and this was one of the things where I knew I could not recover if things went wrong. But yeah, the pain of staying like I was greater than the pain of change. So that's how I boiled it down and made my decision. And let's see, I went on to say, I committed to surgery, was willing to live with the consequences, and vowed not to regret my choice. After all, there was no going back once that 80% of my stomach was removed. This is where I went into answer each one of her individual questions that I personally had experience with. is saying that I'm afraid I won't be able to have a normal life. I'm afraid I won't be able to go out and eat with my husband and eat normal but smaller portions of foods. And my response was, within a year, I was eating pretty much anything I wanted. There was hardly any foods that I could not eat. Some were tolerated better than others, but there was nothing that was completely off limits. If I wanted it, I could eat it, just in much, much smaller amounts. And more or less grumblings from Frankensleeve whether he could tolerate it or not. It was closer to the end of the year before I actually was able to tolerate everything that I wanted. But within 9 months, most everyday foods were just fine. But the funny thing is, Taco Bell taco sauce, the kind you buy in the stores on the shelf, in the little jars, I could eat it, but man, Frankensleeve hates that stuff for some reason. Regular salsa is just fine. Just Taco Bell. I don't know. See, the funny thing was, I no longer had a taste or desire for most of the flavors I used to love and crave pre-op. And that's true. My taste buds kind of reset after surgery, and for a while they were wonky, but then they straightened back out, and the stuff I used to love just didn't taste as good anymore. I think it really has a lot to do with the fact that I went cold turkey from processed foods and from sugar in particular for over a month. I still love steak, pasta, rice, and pizza, but I don't crave them or need any particular food or flavor anymore, which was the best benefit of all. The day after surgery, my desire for food was gone. I mean, as far as any type of flavors or anything like that, the hold food had over me was gone. Maybe it was psychosomatic, maybe it was physiological, but I knew the first week after surgery that me and food had parted ways. Let's see, I can now be satisfied with eating chicken breast as much as I used to be satisfied eating rice and gravy, and that's still true 28 months later. This is 2 years and 6 months for me now, so 30 months now. This is my 30th month post-op. When do you go from counting months to counting years, I guess, is my question. I can honestly say that I can pass on eating pizza without even the slightest regret. I can eat at any restaurant without fear of not finding something that I would like to eat or could eat. And the next point in her thread was, I'm afraid I won't be able to get enough protein and will lose a lot of hair. I'm afraid I will accidentally end up choosing the wrong foods and getting sick all the time. I'm afraid I won't be able to enjoy any of the foods I enjoy now. And what I had to say was, for the first few months, getting in the recommended protein levels can be a real challenge. It was for me. I was literally eating popsicles, sugar-free Jell-O, and Crystal Light lemonade for the first 10 days or so. I didn't eat any food at all, nothing with calories in it. After that, I graduated to the, I guess you'd call it puree, soft food stage on my food phases, and for about the next month, well, not the next month, next 2 to 3 weeks, I literally ate nothing but cream of mushroom soup and like 3/4 of a can a day. So I was not able to get in my protein. I was not worried about that. My only concern was hydration. At 375, I had lots and lots of food stored about my body. I was not worried about the zombie apocalypse and starving to death because of lack of food. So as long as I felt okay, didn't feel dizzy, weak, didn't feel, off, and I never did. I always drank plenty, but the lack of food was not a problem. Let's see, and the hair loss can be a problem. I really didn't notice it myself. My hair is naturally very, very thick, and it did fall out to a certain extent. It got thinner. I could see more patches between the hair follicles, but within 3 to 5 months, I guess, it really all came back in for me. The only thing I really noticed was that I could wait almost another month between haircuts for the first year. And let's see, at the next point was, I'm mostly afraid I will regret the surgery for the reasons I just listed and will no longer be happy myself. I don't want to lose weight, but in the end being unhappy. And my response was, I found that I'm still me over 2 years later, maybe a little bit more extroverted, because you would never catch me on camera at 375. I didn't want to be photographed anywhere at any time, ever. I've got like 2 photographs of me in 2012, the last year before surgery, and I avoided the camera, avoided the camera as much as possible. My whole way of thinking about food has changed. I used to know that I'd be hungry every 2 hours, and it was a head hunger thing. I'm pretty sure. As soon as my stomach would be empty, I knew that I would be ready to eat again. I'd have to plan around that because it would be such a gnawing, nagging sensation that I could not ignore it. I couldn't even go to sleep at night until I was satisfied, until my stomach was satisfied or my brain was satisfied, whatever was causing those food cravings. I'd get certain cravings for foods like pizzas or the flavor of cherries, and I would literally just have to go out and go get it before I could sleep. But now food doesn't dominate my life anymore. I still eat out at the buffet restaurants, just like I used to. It's just now I don't get my money's worth anymore. And I go out there basically to hang out with my friends because that's what we did before. And one of my friends asked me, he said, you know, when you, after you had the surgery, you start losing the weight, you can't hold as much, we're going to eat someplace else. I said, no. And I said, I don't go out to eat. I go out to socialize with you. So the surgery gave me a control over the food I never had before. It says the next point was, today I'm on I am on day 4 of a 2-week liquid diet. I cheated this afternoon and I was having so many doubts. I had some chicken, so I'm hoping I didn't mess up too much to have my surgery. And I have to admit, I cheated on my pre-op diet too. I was supposed to do just a protein shake diet. I could have as much of it as I wanted, but I had to have some meat. And I was a former Atkins diet type person, so I knew from experience that eating no carbohydrates was one way I could lose weight. So I did allow myself to eat pure protein, in particular pork loin or chicken breast, something low fat, and still managed to lose 10 pounds in 7 days. Let's see, in the last one, how long until I feel normal? Well, I didn't feel normal pre-op, so I don't know what normal feels now, but this is the way I live. I'm much happier now. And yeah. But that's I want to go on to give you some of the answers from the other people who posted on the thread as well, which I thought were important to add. From Melody S. She wrote back and said, I still go out to eat with my family. I just eat a whole lot less and pay attention to getting the protein in first. And that's what I do also. I eat my protein first. If there's any room left over, then I have vegetables or any other kind of carbs. Before surgery, I could not walk to the end of my street without being totally wiped out. And now I can either walk 3 to 4 times around my block or walk on the treadmill for 30 to 45 minutes, and I'm feeling great. So just to reassure you, what you are feeling is normal. And yes, there is a big change, but once you start dropping the pounds, it kind of gets exciting, and it does. Seeing that weight fall off. So I'm kind of reading these off because I want you to have more than just my say-so as to how well surgery can work out for you. Let's see, Blurred Girl. She writes and says, I had surgery on 9/18/14 and have 0 regrets. I had no pain, which is good for her because I had lots of pain. No complications. I didn't have any complications other than the excess pain. I wish I had done this 20 years ago, and I wish I had done it 20 years ago too. But this surgery didn't exist. The gastric sleeve didn't exist 20 years ago, and I was too nervous about the other types of surgery. It says, I have gone out to eat several times. I simply eat slow and get a doggy bag. I have no desire to cheat. And I do the same thing. My girlfriend really loves the fact that I eat so little because we order 2 meals and she takes my leftovers home and eats them for lunch the next day. Everyone is different, but I, for one, cannot begin to express how happy I am with my decision. And the next one is from Pack Woman. I am 3 weeks out of surgery, a normal life. You will have a normal life once you get over the hump of healing, which healing takes about 6 to 8 weeks, meaning you will eat like a chipmunk. It's true. Try thinking of like a teaspoonful of food every 15 to 30 minutes. I hear at 6 months it starts getting better, and at a full year you will be able to eat a kid's portion meal and get full, which is true even to this day. 30 months later, Tuesday night on date night, my girlfriend cooked us hamburgers and asparagus, and I had like 4 or 5 stalks of asparagus, which were about the size of a pencil and about as long as a pencil, and I ate about 3/4 of the cheeseburger she cooked me. And I was going to save the last quarter for later, and I set it on the counter, and we came back in from watching Sex and the City, and her cats had knocked it off the counter and were treating it like a mouse. So I didn't get to eat my whole hamburger last night. I missed out on it too. But you will go to eating smaller meals. Like literally, when I go out to a place like Chili's or Cheddar's, I eat hamburgers so rarely that when I do get them, when I go someplace like that, I get a hamburger. And I can usually eat just the hamburger and nothing else. I'm full to the top. And even those last couple bites, sometimes I have to wait a few minutes between bites to get them down. And Pack Woman goes on to say, going out to dinner, it will be a struggle the first 6 to 8 weeks. No lie. On my 8th day, I went to Boston Market and got chicken soup. I was only able to put down 2 ounces of broth, and I had to take the rest home. Your esophagus is the size of a pencil because of the swelling, so think about swallowing food with a tube the size of a pencil to let it go down. So you have to chew, and make sure your food is moist. Don't eat dry stuff if you can help it. You will be able to eat enough protein with time, but at first you have to concentrate on hydration. The hair loss thing, I hear it comes back after 4 months, and it's temporary, which is true. It's temporary. Some shedding, but nothing dramatic. Wrong foods, your stomach will be so small at first you will want something nutritional, not crap. And that is true. Eating 600 to 800 calories a day, you want to focus on getting as much nutrition per bite, meaning all the vitamins, minerals, and macronutrients you can get per bite to keep up your health. And that's what I focused on too. That's one of the reasons why I didn't eat any processed foods. Ate almost nothing with sugar in it, except maybe peanut butter and cream of mushroom soup. So you really do want to focus on your nutrition, and that will cut out a lot of the bad foods for you. And you probably won't even want the bad foods for you. The only problem, the ironic thing, was that the bad foods are the easiest to eat right after surgery because they're processed. They're already pre-chewed for you. It was trying to eat the good stuff that was the hard part. It's the enjoyment of food. Yes, you'll be able to enjoy food eventually after your meal and learn your quantity. Instead of having an entire wrapped sandwich, you'll probably just eat half. And you'll have lots and lots of leftovers. Think of it like this. You will eat the portion that should be given to a child. It is nutritional and satisfactory with no gluttony whatsoever. Now ask yourself, do you want to be happy with food and fat? Do you want to be happy with food and be fat forever? Do you want to diet on your own and fail eventually and start over? Or do you want the surgery to help you have the self-control and live a happy, energetic life without focusing on food as the main event? It's all true. And let's see, Red Salamander says, I am only 16 days out, and for quite a bit at first I felt sad and prevented from living a normal life. But now, a few things aside, and other things that were tweaked a bit, things are back to normal. My husband and I are going out for dinners. Nope. But that'll return in a few weeks. Probably after a month when you're on regular foods. Normal food, full foods. I have gone out to eat with my family. I had a cup of tomato soup and probably ate a quarter of it. Gone for coffee with friends. Gone to 2 parties. I'm not eating at most of these things. Although now that I'm on purees, I could have had some yogurt and hummus if I wanted. And no one has commented or noticed. I feel totally fine now, and I'm not sad not to be eating or being hungry. It's a bummer that right now I can't meet my friends for lunch very easily, but that'll come soon. I'll be honest, the first week out I felt tired and sore and very sorry for myself, but now that I'm feeling better, my outlook is much better and I feel normal. And yes, I'm going to hit the restaurants and eat delicious food at them. Just not that much. Woohoo, leftovers. Yeah, you'll have lots of leftovers unless you can get the kid-size meals. There are so many little hidden gems to getting this surgery that outweigh the dread. Getting on a plane and not having all the eyes looking at you with people praying that you don't sit next to them, or especially not in the middle seat. Going out to fancier dinners and having it be cheap because you can order off the appetizer menu. Knowing that everything in the clothing store will come in your size. Yay, clearance rack. Much better sex. Not feeling like you're going to knock people over on a crowded sidewalk. Hiking or swimming or tennis or whatever you used to dread because it tired you out and hurt your knees. Now it's fun and it's a great way to socialize. As much as the health, the quality of life just multiplies. Your fears were my fears and will be the fears of future weight loss folk. But you have to take into account the joy. There will be tough times. Initially there might be pain, but time keeps moving ahead, and what really sticks in those memories are the good times, the loving moments, the prideful sense of accomplishments. It's okay to be afraid, but it's also okay to be excited. That's the emotion to grab a hold of. You know, the excitement. I was nervous, excited, going in 15 different directions at one time with my emotions. And New Beginnings 2015. I'm 5 weeks out from surgery now and I have resumed life as normal. And normal is 35 pounds lighter. I've gone to a wedding a few days after the surgery, out to dinner, drinking with friends, a baby shower, and several parties. I ate tiny quantities of whatever was offered, emphasizing the protein. No one person noticed that I was eating like a bird. Everyone was too busy talking and eating to watch me. Yesterday, I went to my favorite deli while out shopping. I ordered a sandwich, ate about a quarter. I didn't have room for the Coke and chips and the cookie that came with it, so they went to my DH. I'm not exactly sure what that DH stands for. I think it's like your husband or wife. Designated husband? I'm not sure. I used to know what that was. I looked it up one time, but I've forgotten what the initials stand for. But I'm assuming it means that she gave it to her husband. I did have some rough patches the first month after surgery with the incision pain, difficulty swallowing, eating too fast, then feeling terrible, and those sorts of things. I'm glad that that is behind me now. But relative to the rest of my life, 4 weeks of adjustment is a small price I willingly pay in exchange for the health benefits, dropping 2 sizes already, the ability to walk further and move more easily, and renewed hope. And that's one of the biggest things. You will feel like you get your life back. I see so much opportunity in front of me. Beach vacations, business promotions, enjoying the outdoors with my family, wearing normal size clothes, and improving health. Yeah, so just a few testimonials about how weight loss surgery can change your life, not just my own. There is always a chance that things can go wrong, but in my opinion, those chances are so small, and it was worth everything I went through. All the fear, the doubts, even the pain. Knowing full well what I know now, I would still go back and make the same decision again. Every minute was worth it. So, hopefully you got a little bit out of this. If you like this, please feel free to thumb it up. If you don't like it, please feel free to thumb it down. I'd really like to know how you feel about the content I'm producing, and if you got some value out of it. So, this is Joatsaint, along with my sidekick, Frankensleeve, signing out from VSG land. Keep pimping that sleeve.